We're here with Bita Delisi of Stonegate Legal Services. And today we're asking Bita, what can buyer agents ask of the seller when they're thinking about buying the seller's rental property? Stay tuned. Hi, Bita. How are you?
Good, Terry. And you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Okay, so I'm a real estate agent. I'm relatively new at buying rental properties, and I've got a client who would like to buy some duplex. What are some of the things that I'm able to ask of the seller to provide for my due diligence?
So, three things you should be always asking as a buyer agent. Number one, you need a copy of the lease. You need a copy of the rules of the game. If the tenancy is a month-to-month tenancy and the lease is no longer, I was going to say valid, you should still ask for a copy, because the last thing you want is for your client to close on a property only to find out that all terms with the previous landlord are one-sided. The second thing you're going to ask for, Terry, is a tenant acknowledgement. And a tenant acknowledgement basically is confirmation of the lease, of the rules of the game from the tenant. So basically, an update from the lease. Who are the tenants? What is the updated rent? What is the property being rented? What are the amenities being used? What are the utilities? Who pays for them? So forth and so on. A tenant acknowledgement is very important, because if there's been a change in one of the tenants from the original lease, you'll be informed on the tenant acknowledgement.
Right.
And the third thing you want is the seller's direction to be signed by the seller by the seller, informing the tenant that the property is closed as of whatever the closing date is, and that the rent moving forward after closing to be paid to the buyer, who is, let's say, John Doe, to this email, or by way of post-dated check to this address for service. Those are the three things.
Right. And each of those are critical. And, in some instances, we've had some of my clients say, well, it's, the tenant's been there for 3 years. They're month to month. Why do I need the lease? Well, you need the lease because in the event of not a new lease, those terms are deemed to be in effect, right? So we've still got the, who's paying the utilities, all that sort of stuff. That's correct, right?
That's correct. That's correct. You want to make sure that the terms are not one-sided.
Right. And the second point, and this is what especially with new landlords you miss, is the tenant acknowledgement. It is key. And the way I explain it from the real estate side of things is, we've got a landlord that's provided you with a lease. Fine. What does the tenant actually think? Was there a side deal that they did 6 months ago where, hey, we've got your crap, your dishwasher, so your rent's down $50 a month, right? It's that opportunity to find out, okay, does a tenant agree with what the landlord's telling us is the case, right, Bita?
You got it. I had a client, Terry, and he purchased a property sight unseen. He purchased it solely on land value. It was a little beat up cottage that a tenant was renting for $1,000 for the last 13 years. So my client purchased it with the intention of demolishing and rebuilding. So we served the notice, the appropriate notice. Terry, we waited 8 months to get to the board, only to find out that, we only listed one tenant, and there was a second tenant that wasn't listed on the notice. Now, this could have all been avoided if a tenant acknowledgement was filled out from the very beginning.
Yeah.
So my client's application got dismissed, and now we're in queue waiting to be heard again.
Lord above. And not to put too fine a point out for those reasons, but your bank is going to want to see that as well. So just make sure that's in there. And that final point about the instruction to the seller, just one small thing. Like sometimes you'll see those clauses where it's up to 60 days or 90 days if they've got post-dated checks or whatever, where you, the seller, within 30, 60, 90 days, if in error you get paid, you're giving us that money. Now, it would be fraud to take the money anyway, but that's something that's sometimes seen in those directions as well. Right, Bita?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so anything else that you want to add, Bita?
That's it. Just make sure as buyer agents, you guys are asking for those 3 things.
Absolutely. So everybody, thank you for watching. If you have any questions whatsoever, we want to hear from you. Beta's email and cell will be in the description below, as will mine. Thanks for watching. We'll talk soon.